Limiting factors. Limiting factors are really important in photosynthesis, and understanding what the limiting factors are and how to overcome them is critical. So basically, in a reaction where there are several conditions required, the rate will always be limited by the one that is least favourable. So if you need 3 things to make the reaction go, it will only ever be able to go as fast as the level of the lowest of those 3 things is. In photosynthesis, we have the equation carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of light and chlorophyll produces glucose and oxygen. Now, generally the reactants become the key factors, but in this instance, it's a little bit more complicated. So carbon dioxide can be a limiting factor. As you change the concentration of carbon dioxide, you will change the rate of photosynthesis. Water, not so much, just because water is so critical to the functioning of the plant. So if you don't have enough water, then the plant will die. It has greater metabolic function than purely photosynthesis. Light, absolutely, that becomes a limiting factor. As you change the intensity of light, you will change the rate of photosynthesis. Chlorophyll, again, really not so much, because if you don't have chlorophyll, then you simply don't have photosynthesis. So I mean, it's quite a binary limiting factor there. And of course, because it's an enzyme control reaction, temperature has an effect. So if we have a look at some graphs, so these would be called the limiting factors graphs. So basically you have rate on the y-axis and then whatever factor you're looking at on the x-axis. So in the case of temperature, it's pretty straightforward. It goes up, it goes up, it goes up to a point. And that point is the optimum temperature, and then it declines very rapidly, and at this point the enzymes would be denatured. Okay, so that's why it declines very rapidly, and there's no coming back from that. With carbon dioxide concentration, what you see that as the carbon dioxide concentration increases, initially it increases up until a point at which it doesn't increase anymore. And at this point, some other factor has become limiting, okay? So even though you're increasing the carbon dioxide concentration, you're not increasing the rate of photosynthesis. To do that, to make the graph continue to go up, you would need to remove whatever limitation there was there. And this is exactly the same with light intensity. You can increase the light intensity, that will increase the rate of photosynthesis up until a point where something else is going to become limiting. In a kind of a natural environment, the thing most likely to become limiting is carbon dioxide concentration. The optimum carbon dioxide concentration for plants would be 0.1%. Carbon dioxide concentrations is about 0.04%. You might think, well, hang on a second, aren't we trying to reduce carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere? And you're absolutely right, we are. This might seem counterintuitive, but if we increase the carbon dioxide concentration to 0.1%, then all of the plants would be photosynthesizing much more rapidly, and therefore there'd be more oxygen produced, etc., etc. However, the corresponding increase in temperature that would result from the carbon dioxide concentrations being 0.1 degrees would be such that we would basically be living in a fiery desert, and so actually that wouldn't have a beneficial effect.